So in today's web dev tip, we're going to do another practice exercise on the Codwars platform, and this one is all about looking at strings, and we're going to use a little bit of regular expressions to work out the number of words in a string. So in this challenge, you're going to receive a string in a function, and what you need to do first of all is split it into words, and more about that in just a second. But what you need to do with each of those words is then look and see if the first letter in each word is what they call a positive or a negative letter. And what they mean by that is the letter is positive if it's in the first half of the alphabet, and it's considered negative if it's in the second half of the alphabet. So all we need to do really is return true or false depending on the number of positive and negative words. So if there are more than or equal amount of positive words than negative words, then we're basically going to be returning true. If not, we'll return false. So this is pretty simple in JavaScript because what we can actually do with these letters is actually compare them directly. So we can find out a particular word in the string and then access its first letter and then just compare it directly with the letter M or N in the alphabet, and that should give us a true or false answer depending on whether or not it's in the first half or the second half of the alphabet. So the first job really is to split this string that we're provided in here into words. So you might do something like this to start off with. Create a words variable, and it's just equal to string.split. And you might do something like this and just use a single space. But you might have noticed in the instructions there that that won't work for all cases because some of the words might be separated between 1 and 3 spaces. So we can't guarantee that this split function will find all of those particular cases, but what we can do with the split function is pass in a regular expression, and we can just test for white space and see if there's one or more white space in the string, and then just split the string on those white space that are found, and this will give us all of the words in the string without any white space at either side of it. So this is a good technique if you just want to roughly find out the number of words in a string. It's not foolproof, but it will work for our example in this particular challenge. Okay, so once we've got an array of words, what we can do is call the filter function on the array to work out the number of positive and negative words or that are considered by the challenge to be positive or negative. So what we can say is the number of positive words is equal to the words array, and we'll call the filter function as mentioned. Let's just split this onto another line so you can see everything that's going on. So for each word in the array, what we can do is access the first item in the word itself, which will basically be the first character in the word. And let's just call to lowercase on that, just to ensure that we're checking against a lowercase letter. And we'll just say, is that less than or equal to the letter M? And if it is, then we'll actually keep that word in the array, and that will be considered a positive word. So we want to actually get the number of positive words here, so I'm just going to tack onto the end of there the length of the array that's returned from that filter function, and then we can just do exactly the same thing for negative as well. So the negative is equal to words.filter. For each of those words, let's get the first item in the word itself, the first character, change it to lowercase, and just say, is that greater than or equal to N? And again, let's not forget to get the length of those words that are returned. So that's pretty much the hard work done for this challenge. So we've got in the positive constant, we've got the number of positive words that were in the original string. And the same thing for negative, we've got the number of negative words that are in the original string too. So the last thing to do is just to return the expression to give us true or false. So we want to say, if the number of positive words is greater than or equal to the number of negative words, then we're going to return true. But if this expression is false, then obviously this return statement here will return false. So that should be pretty much all we need to do. Some tests down here. Let's just run those to make sure everything's working as expected. Oh, and we've got some errors here. And it's a reference error, so positive rather than positive. I can't obviously spell, so let's just update that and run the tests again. And we should see, yep, they're all passing now. So for the test cases that are provided, our code will satisfy, and you can see there's some interesting tests in there, such as where the string provided is all in uppercase or whether it's uppercase and lowercase. So there's a variety of tests that will test our code to make sure that it's behaving as it should. So there are a few improvements that we could make. We could obviously change this into an arrow function, and also the repetition here of getting the first item from a word and transforming it to lowercase. It's ideally not great to have repeating code, so we could maybe break that out into a separate function or something just to stop us having to repeat that process. But other than that, I think that's a reasonable solution to this particular coding challenge. So that's it for this tutorial. Make sure you stay tuned for more web dev tips.